Nearly every single turn-based RPG has a basic attack command. This is usually the default action that players start the game with, and it's your most spammable action. The attack command is quick, easy, and effective. But in Project Bloom, the command didn't feel that great to use. During all playtest sessions, none of the players would willingly use the attack command, including myself. So this got me thinking, how can I improve basic attacks in Project Bloom? Or more broadly, what makes a good basic attack in a turn-based RPG? In an effort to answer this, we have to study some other turn-based games. There's a whole library to choose from, but let's take a look at Honkai's Starrail. Starrail is one of miHoYo's successful money cows, but admittedly it's a pretty good game. On the surface, the game is simple. Each character has a basic attack, a skill, and an ultimate ability. Each skill costs 1 skill point to use, while each attack command replenishes 1 skill point. So between your 4 characters, you're playing this balancing act of, do I use this skill for its effects now, or do I build points for another character with a basic attack? But the thing is, I already had this system in Project Bloom. The MP system I use in Project Bloom is admittedly the same as Starrail's because I liked it that much. Yet the basic attack still feels bad. We have to dig deeper. At the center of Starrail's combat is the weakness and break system. Hitting enemies with an element they're weak against will deplete the break gauge. But what allows basic attacks to shine is that the break gauge doesn't care about how much damage you're dealing, just that you're using the correct attack type. This makes it so that even if you're doing a basic attack with your low damage healer, that attack still feels impactful. This exact same idea is present in another great RPG, Octopath. Octopath is another game whose basic attacks feel very impactful and meaningful. Enemies have a number shown on their break gauge, and if you hit them that many times with their weakness, they'll become broken. But what makes basic attacks even more impactful is the boost system. The boost system in Octopath is so hype and does a few things, but for us, boosts make your basic attack multi-hit, allowing you to break multiple shields in one turn. Couple the boost system with weaknesses and the basic attack never loses relevance. You never feel like your turn was wasted. Both Starrail and Octopath show us that by having system mechanics that directly interact with your basic attack, you can significantly improve their effectiveness in combat. But not every game needs a break mechanic. In fact, most RPGs that we grew up with have a very simple attack command, yet they still feel useful. So let's look at one of those. From the whole list of RPGs, there were many games to choose from here, but let's look at the inspiration for Project Bloom's battle system, Child of Light. Similar to games of the past, Child of Light doesn't reinvent the wheel with their basic attacks. They're reliable and do decent damage. You'll mostly utilize attacks as your main source of damage in the early and mid games before you have enough MP to spam skills. Honestly, at first glance, there wasn't anything that really stood out to me. They were just regular, yet we still use them and don't feel like we're wasting our turn. So I decided to revisit Child of Light and some of those older games and realize that there is something to be found in the simplistic nature of their attack command. Even when I have MP for a spell, I would still choose to use the basic attack. I would make this decision regardless of the game I was playing. Octopath, Starrail, Child of Light, Divinity, Final Fantasy, it didn't matter. I'd have the MP available for a skill, but still choose to use the basic attack. That's never a choice I make in Project Bloom. Why is that? Well, it's because in these games, MP is a valuable resource. Spells are strong. They can do heavy damage, heal, revive teammates, and apply effects. But if you spam spells, you won't have MP when you need it the most, like when you need a clutch heal, or when you need to revive a dead teammate. Basic attacks are the tool the player uses to fill in the gaps between their next spell. Because of that, they should feel useful even when the player is forced to use them. In the cases of Starrail and Octopath, attacks can lead to breaking an enemy, or in Child of Light, they just deal decent damage and can interrupt an enemy. But these attack commands need to be balanced around the spell use frequency. If the spell costs a lot of MP, meaning it's not spammable, then the basic attack needs to deal moderate damage to make up for that, or lean heavily into some system mechanic, or maybe a combination of both. But if the spells are spammable and strong, then the basic attack becomes almost useless, because you have no reason to use it. So the problem in Project Bloom was that the basic attack damage was very low, and the skills were just a more appealing and readily available option. So to solve this today, we're going to increase the damage of all basic attacks so that they deal about 1/3 of a weak enemy's HP. We'll put that back into playtest, see how it feels, and if it's good, then it's good. If not, we'll consider adding maybe a weakness system, but we'll let the playtest loops determine that. I know it feels like we went through a lot of hoops just to say, well, let's add more damage, but look at all the micro decisions that really had to be considered before we got here. A difficult part of designing turn-based combat systems is that they need to feel almost like the player is solving a puzzle. How can you take this board state and get the best outcome with the tools available? There are so many moving parts, and basic attacks are just another piece. So they should be designed as a part of the greater combat system, not an isolated feature. With that said, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I really love talking about design, especially when it comes to my game, because it's something that I struggle with every night by myself in the corner of my room. Talking about it in a video format really allows me to put my thoughts together. If you'd like to hear how the first playtest session of Project Bloom went, you can check out this video here. Or if you'd like a more technical discussion of how I make my VFX, you can check out this video here. Lastly, you can wishlist Project Bloom on Steam. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.